If there's anything that I've learned in the last 4 years in working with people as a coach and also in doing my own inner work, it's that habits have the power to completely and rapidly transform your life. Out of all the habits that I've built, though, there is one that far and away has been the most impactful and the most profound. So in this video, I want to share with you what that habit is. I also want to share with you some practical and easy strategies you can use to start building that habit in your life immediately, starting today. If you like what you see, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to stay notified when I post new content, and stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to share the second best habit that you can form. Let's jump in. In the last 4 years, I've built a lot of habits. I've done cold showers. I've done things like Whole30. I've meditated. I've built habits around owning and expressing my feelings. But there's an underlying habit that has been the most profoundly impactful for me, and that I see as the single best habit that you can form. And that's the habit of learning about yourself. Because here's the thing. Most of us are living most of our lives on autopilot. We do pretty much the same thing in the same places with the same people every day. We wake up, we get ready for work, we go to work, we come back, we eat dinner, we go to bed. We do the same things so often that we just stop paying attention. It all becomes routine. We get into going through the motions because we know what to expect. So often it takes a particularly distressing experience, something negative happening to us, to interrupt that routine, to wake us up out of sleepwalking. And if it's distressing enough, we'll feel called to assess what were the forces that led to this event. How did my behavior or thinking add to the chances that this happened? And we might see something that we had never seen before, a trait or a behavior of ours that was in our blind spot, that was operating hidden and unseen, but was having a very clear impact on how our life was going. Like, think back to the last time that you had maybe a distressing experience that caused you to learn something about yourself, sort of a come to Jesus moment. Maybe it was getting fired or getting broken up with or having a health scare. When it happened, it woke you up. It interrupted the routine. It's like the light turned on, you go, holy shit, like, what is this? How did this happen? So you reflected on it. You started to analyze and assess and ask, what were the underlying forces at play that led to and caused that experience? And you saw something new, a new pattern of yours, a behavioral tendency that you didn't realize that you had, a way that you'd chosen to think about things. Maybe you were afraid to open up and be vulnerable, so your partner got fed up with that and then decided to leave. Or maybe your ego was getting in the way of you getting some important feedback at work, so they decided to let you go. Whatever it was, you became aware of something new about yourself that was getting in the way of something that you wanted. And when you saw it, you got to ask yourself, do I want to continue doing this? Do I want to go back to sleepwalking and continuing this pattern? Let's say that you don't, and that you decide that you want to break up that behavior, change that behavior, and create something new. So you took real action. You decided to actually go out and practice this new thing. Maybe you decided to share more openly and vulnerably in your relationships. So you created a new, more connected, more intimate version of your previous relationship. Or maybe you decided to change how you related to feedback. You asked for feedback more consistently and you sat with the feedback and you implemented it. And you got a new job as a result. The key thing is you saw something that wasn't working, so you decided to take action and change it. And your life got better as a result. And remember, this entire experience, this entire learning process was prompted by an unplanned event, something that just happened to you without any intentionality on your part. The event happens, you look at your role in the event, you figure out what wasn't working, you decide to change what wasn't working, you go out and practice something new, and your life gets better. It's pretty cool, right? What's even cooler though, is that process of better understanding yourself and then changing what isn't working is available to you 24/7. You don't have to wait for something to happen to you to use this process to improve yourself and improve your life. You could do this literally every day if you wanted to. You could make it a consistent practice of looking at your experiences, understanding what's not working, and then using that information to better guide your decisions and the actions that you take. Can you imagine how doing this regularly would rapidly improve the quality of your life? If you were having those kinds of realizations and new learnings about yourself on a monthly, weekly, daily basis, how quickly you would improve every aspect of yourself as a person, as a friend, as a partner, as a family member, as a business owner, as a professional, like how quickly the quality of your life would improve. That exponential continuous improvement of yourself on a regular basis means no stagnation, no boredom, no regrets. It means you get everything you want in your life that much faster because you are habitualizing your growth and development as a person. And this is important because a habit is something that you invest in on the front end so that eventually you can just do it without even thinking about it. So think about that for a minute. This is a self-improvement system that once it's set up can run on autopilot. By intentionally practicing up front, you're making it second nature to see the opportunities for growth in your everyday experience, in every moment, in every conversation, every day. And the best part is that it doesn't cost any money. It's totally free. The only thing it costs you is your time and energy, and you have to be willing to commit to the practice because nobody's going to force you to do this. Nobody's going to check in on your progress. You have to be willing to hold yourself accountable. So if you're in and you're willing to commit to the habit of learning more about yourself, drop an "I'm in" the comments below. So I've shared the opportunity in learning more about yourself in a more consistent way. And now I want to share with you 3 strategies that you can use to build this habit of self-learning starting today, immediately. So the first of these strategies is journaling. Journaling is the most potent tool that you have for your own development. The idea behind journaling is that you are setting aside intentional time to notice what's happening with you internally and then describing it in a way that is understandable and digestible. In essence, with a regular journaling practice, you're sharpening your ability to understand and notice the forces that are at play in your own life. So this kind of awareness building, this act of writing your thoughts out in a centralized place is invaluable because it helps you realize patterns more easily. Because if you think about it, you can only have so much information or assess so many data points at one time in your own brain. So with journaling, you're documenting your experience over time, which allows you to analyze and see patterns that you might not otherwise be able to. Now, in terms of starting, I get asked a lot, how do I journal? And the brilliant part about this is that there's no right way. And I'll share some strategies you can use to get started, but the point that I want to make is that it's less about the exact method that you use and more about the practice of intentionally documenting your experience. So there's 2 strategies with journaling that I want to share with you. And the first is what I would call stream of consciousness. So it's sitting down and literally just writing out everything that you notice about your thoughts, feelings, and body sensations. Just let yourself write and journal aimlessly about what's coming up for you, how your day went, experiences that have been significant for you recently. In this strategy, there's no goal or question to answer. It's really just documenting what you see. This stream of consciousness approach can be really great if you're just looking to get started and get more comfortable with journaling. The second strategy with journaling is what I would call the check-in. And it's a set of 3 questions. So it's, how has today gone? How am I feeling right now? And how do I hope tomorrow goes? With these simple questions, you're practicing a holistic check-in with yourself around your past, present, and future. So hopefully those give you a place to start, but regardless, whether you follow these prompts or not, journaling is one of the most important and powerful things that you can do to start building this habit of learning about yourself. The second strategy in building this habit of self-learning is asking yourself powerful questions. Have you ever had someone ask you a profound question that really shifted how you were thinking about things or helped you realize something important about yourself? Well, the great part is you can actually do that for yourself. So what do I mean by powerful questions? Powerful questions are questions that go beyond the surface of what happened or who was involved and start to dive deeper in addressing the underlying factors or forces at play. These are the why and how questions. Like, why did this thing happen? Or how am I responsible for this thing that happened? When you ask these kinds of powerful questions, you start to uncover and bring to light the thoughts, the ideas, the beliefs that were hidden and running in the background. By asking more powerful questions, you get a more complete picture of yourself, and you are then more well equipped to actually go out and do something with it. A great way to get started in this practice is actually to pair it with journaling. Let's say that you had a particularly distressing day, a really emotional day. And when you sit down to journal about the experience, you have the opportunity to come at it as if you were a third party, an impartial investigator that was just trying to get to the bottom of what happened and why those things happened. Here you can prompt yourself to ask yourself more powerful questions to get to a deeper understanding of what happened. It's asking yourself questions like, what can I distinguish about the emotions that I experienced? What is this experience trying to teach me? What do I notice about my beliefs or thoughts that might have contributed to this experience? The next level of this practice is actually being able to do it as the experience is happening, almost like you become your own coach or therapist in the moment. But however you do it, asking yourself more powerful questions will lead you to more powerful answers and more powerful awarenesses about who you are and how you operate. The third strategy that you can use to build this habit of self-learning is to read more. And more specifically, reading books on self-help and spirituality. When you look at knowledge, there are really three types of knowledge in the world. There's what we know, which is a small piece of all the knowledge out there. There's what we know that we don't know, which is likely a larger piece. And then there's what we don't know that we don't know, which is most of the knowledge that exists. And what I find is that the things that we don't know offer the biggest opportunity and the most potential for rapidly growing and learning as a human. The brilliant thing about self-help books and books about spirituality is that they're written by people who have spent literal lifetimes assessing, analyzing, understanding the nature of life and the dynamics of what it means to be human. They've already figured out and are sharing things that might take us decades to figure out on our own. And so in essence, it's sort of a shortcut. You're downloading their knowledge to help accelerate the growth of your own. Reading these books can be incredibly impactful because often they're helping you put words to something that you didn't realize was there. And there's hundreds of these books. There are hundreds of ways to learn about yourself from these authors. But I did want to share three suggestions, three books that I've read that have been really profound and impactful for me, that have helped me learn a lot about myself. I'll put them down in the comments, but the three are The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, and The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. So those are three strategies that you can start implementing today to build this habit of learning more about yourself. Journaling, asking yourself more powerful questions, and reading. Now, I'd also love to hear from you. What's one strategy that you've used previously to learn more about yourself? Drop it down in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button to stay up to date on future videos. And if you feel called, share this information with someone who might also benefit from it. And as promised, I wanted to share the second best habit that you can form, which is taking care of yourself. Taking care of my well-being has completely transformed my life. It's really the thing that has helped me move from an overwhelmed, burned out people pleaser to a grounded, centered, present, powerful leader and entrepreneur. So if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to take an inventory of how you are taking care of yourself in the 5 following areas, which are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. I'd love to hear what you learn. So that's it for now. Until next time, remember to do your best and enjoy the ride. Peace.